So, we're here for Jabba's Court, and this week we're discussing Star Wars Celebration Japan. We've just reached the start of 2025. The days are counting down quick, just over 100, I think, to go. So the big question is, Paul, what are you expecting at the show?
Panel-wise, I mean, the big thing that'll be coming out in 2025 is Andor. So I would expect to see extensive coverage of that. Um, I I believe I'm right in saying that many of the actors for Andor have already been announced as
Yep,
being there. So we're going to get certainly plenty of content from them, the opportunity to get autographs, etc. But there will be. I would imagine for those of you that are out there at the time, you'll get to see one, maybe two episodes of Andor season two while you're there. I think there'll also be potentially the first trailer for Mando and Grogu.
yep,
And also, we've got some significant anniversaries coming up that year. We've got the 10th anniversary of Force Awakens.
yep.
Yeah. And there's another big anniversary, isn't there? I'm trying to think what it is.
Try to think. Here we go.
Oh, I can't
It's
think
going to
what
be
it
one
is.
of the prequels, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah. It'll be Revenge of the Sith, won't it? The
Yes,
Revenge of.
yeah,
So, yeah. So there's going to be plenty of content on that. As we've discussed in the past, that there's not that much on the table coming out for Star Wars in 2025 that we know of. Um, but definitely Andor panels will be the big thing at the event, and rightly so because it's such a quality show. I
yep,
don't know anybody about Andor. Yes, thank you, Mark. Thank you for
yep.
confirming those.
The Yeah, Jack's throwing in sneak peek at Star Wars Vision Season 3. I think
Yeah,
highly likely with it being Japan, and I think manga might prove to be um, a source of big announcements. I kind of expect there to be some spin-offs from Star Wars Vision, some actual full-blown Star Wars manga animated series being announced
yeah,
as being in development.
yeah. I think that's probably the case. I'd forgotten about Visions. Yeah, thank you, Jack. Yeah, Visions. Which I mean, there's been some great little episodes within Vision seasons one and two. Can be a bit patchy. I don't really like all of the content, but much of it I really like. The Aardman episode about Wedge was hilarious. That was really good. Um, but yeah, to pick up on some of them, yeah, and for Japan, it's a natural fit, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The interesting thing for me is going to be Dave Filoni, whether he's going to be there. He's now the head of creative. Um, but he's going to be filming Ahsoka starting April.
I'm
Um,
sure he'll be there. Yeah,
and then you've got the Ahsoka cast as well. Will they be in Japan? Um, it's proved
it's quite
difficult
possible.
because
Yeah,
if you're in the middle of making a film, you probably don't want to be out on a um, promo tour.
no, but maybe they'll take a break, or perhaps they've even scouted a filming location that's close to it that they're actually doing some work on.
Jack, just tell us, Jack. I announce the fact that Jack's going to be on the stage, aren't you, Jack?
Yes, there'll be plenty of podcasters out there. But yeah, I think it.
Controversial comment from Kev. The Japanese will read anything as evidenced by some of the manga out there. In that sense, tell the rest of the Acolyte story in manga.
Yeah, why not? But yeah, I mean, it's going to be very, very manga sort of driven, or that style of artwork, because
Yeah.
that's what they're known for.
Yeah, Mark suggesting they could have Flonny by satellite link. That would make most sense, I think. Don't take the casting crew away from the production. Let them focus on that. Either do a recorded video or some kind of
A
satellite link
possibility.
or something.
Yeah, it's a possibility because those always work really well. Satellite links, don't they? There's nothing going to go wrong there. Um, what else do you think you'll see there then, Brian?
Biggest highlight for Jack's gonna be sharing a room with me and reading me the High Republic. Apparently, I'm gonna have to get doors with solid locks on them. And Jack's also suggesting a big push for a Daisy Ridley film. Um, I'm interested whether it gets mentioned or whether it's back in the Great Wall of Silence as to what's happening with
Yeah.
Daisy Ridley in a Ray film or films or spin-offs that she may also feature in.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I'm kind of thinking they may go a little bit silent on some things that are causing them a little bit of embarrassment because they're not happening, or not happening at the rate that they expected. I think would be the
Or, or they could go completely gung ho again and announce
yeah.
20
Let's
things.
announce another 6 films, and announce all the writers and directors and cast,
Yeah.
and then not make them.
So what would you like to see there in terms of panels?
I would like um, I would like some TV shows to be announced.
Yeah.
Not necessarily a pirates one. I think a lot of people have been talking about a spin-off focused on the pirates. That could well be happening. I would like slightly similar but different, but like a Black Sun, Darth Maul focused series.
Yeah.
I would like a young Palpatine series as well.
Yeah.
Um, Kevin's suggesting pre-tape messages from set. I think that's most likely.
Yeah.
Mark suggesting Patty Jenkins and Ryan Johnson trilogies. I'm thinking that's a good shout as well. Uh, I would, yeah. So that's my hope. Black Sun TV show, Young Palpatine TV show. These are the kind of things that haven't even been speculated or whatever. I'm just throwing them out there. That's the kind of things that I want. Um,
He's
and
thrown Ryan Johnson at me there because he
as
knows
much
how.
as I would like a roadmap for where the TV and film are going, part of me is also screaming inside, don't announce anything until you know what you're actually doing.
Mm.
So don't announce anything until you've got an approved script, in other words.
Yeah.
We're kind
I'd
of
like to,
sickened, I think, by cancellations of projects. Don't think as a fan base we can take much more of it.
yeah. I hope we see some good panels regarding merchandise as well, particularly from Hasbro. Um, I've sat in on some of these in the past. I was in one with Kev when we were over in where were we? California, I think. And we sat in on one, and they started saying about the lightsaber and what was her name? Reva's lightsaber, and you're thinking, really? But yeah, they've hit the mark. They've not hit the mark, rather, on several occasions lately with their announcements. So there's been some good Black Series and vintage collection stuff announced so far over the last few months. So hopefully that trend continues. But I think it would probably be about the right time to announce what they would have coming out ready for the 50th anniversary in 2027. So if there was something that was going to be particularly pricey, a HasLab kind of product, then maybe that could get announced at Japan.
Yeah. Kevin is throwing out there, call your series what it is, Solo the series. Yeah. No,
Yes,
not really.
absolutely.
Because I've got this thing, and it's happening a little bit with Skeleton Crew because we're going to talk about how they survived being drowned in acid later. We need to establish groups of baddies in Star Wars that we continuously can call upon. So we need to bring the Sith back in an effective way, even if it's the rule of two. But we need to have, I think, a third, because it's a religious group. The Jedi's are a religious group. The Sith are a religious group. Bring in a grey area group of Force users. Bring back the witches from Ahsoka in
Oh,
a big and
please.
reasonable way.
No.
Uh, I never said the ones from the Acolyte. I said the ones from Ahsoka. Um, establish the pirates. Establish Black Sun. Establish the Hutts as a proper, because the Hutts are supposed to be criminals, but they only operate in Hutt space where everything they're doing is legal, so they're not criminals. So if you want to establish them, you need to establish them galaxy wide and as a serious threat. then you've got groups that you can constantly go to pick new baddies from. So you've got a constant pool of where to go for content. And we just don't have that at the moment. So it's not necessarily solo the series. I just want to think that Black Sun, the organisation, should be latched upon and established. And we've brought Maul back to life that many times. It's not a problem bringing him back for another series.
I don't know. You talking about witches and Mr. Newbold mentioning Ryan Johnson. Are you two trying to give me a heart attack? What's going on? Come on.
But Kevin makes a good point. No one in the solo movie is regularly working. It's the perfect time to do that.
Yeah, absolutely. I loved Solo. If they don't do something else with that, it's an absolute travesty.
There
We
we
need
go.
either a film or a
This is the
series.
problem we have, you see, Mr. New. Rota needs to be a real Rota in Mando and Grogu. Rota could be the hero. Technically, the Mandalorian, he's the bounty hunter. He's the one. He's a scumbag, isn't he? That's a scumbag job. Always picking who the heroes and the bodies are. Gets it wrong all the time.
What do you like? What do you like?
Bring Maul's bottom half back. Writes itself. Some of us have seen too much of Maul's bottom half. So
Can't see. I can't see that one having much legs.
yeah, no, that one doesn't write itself, Mark. But no, um, don't just want TV and film. We need there needs to be a vibe come out of Celebration that things are moving forward and there's a plan, because it doesn't feel like there's a plan. Everything seems a little bit haphazard. I want a bit of confidence back in where the Star Wars franchise is going, and that's why it's going to be disappointing if Dave Filoni's not there. And I get why he's not there, and he probably shouldn't be there if he's working on his series. But we need to kind of have confidence in the creative direction of Star Wars, because at the moment I don't know what Lucasfilm thinks Star Wars is supposed to be.
Do you think they need to find one sort of timeline and stick with it?
They need to
One
know. They
part,
need to
one
define
part.
what is Star Wars. What's the goal? What's the direction it's going in?
Yeah.
Because you're a little bit story of the week at
Mm.
the moment, and there doesn't seem to be. And it was kind of shown with the Rise of Skywalker. They didn't know how to end it.
No,
So if you don't have
no.
a direction you're going in, what's the story you're actually telling? You're just telling something to fill a time space. So you kind
Yeah,
of
I
need to
mean,
have flagpole moments.
yeah, it has been quite haphazard for some time now. I would say that it was at its strongest around the time of season one and season two of Mando, and then fallen apart since then. Um, I would like to see them focus on the Mandoverse, either tying that up or moving on from it onto something else that we can
Yeah.
have various things pulled together on. But who knows?
Mr. Newbell suggesting the skeleton crew's giving us confidence and need Ford and wants to be doing more. We might get an announcement as to what's happening with a second series of Skeleton Crew. You would presume by spring of next year they'll have determined whether it's been successful enough.
Yeah, yeah. That's true. Or whether there's a film that comes out off the back of it, or like you say, the pirates become a show.
Kevin, you don't think they know how to end it. I suppose they didn't know how to begin it, middle, or end it. Well, there's an element of that, I think.
Yeah,
I think if you don't develop a trilogy as a trilogy and you develop it as individual films, then you're never going to be able to say that's a great beginning, that's a great end, that's a great middle.
yeah,
Because
yeah.
unless you know where you're going, how do you begin? It's
That's what I wonder whether they would do some sort of animated sort of series similar to what they did with the Clone Wars, how that sort of bridged the gap between two and three. Whether they'd ever consider doing something like that to fill some of the gaps between eight and nine. Um, or finally give Snoke some relevance. There's so many things wrong about the sequel trilogy.
yeah.
Let's not start.
But then we shouldn't spend the rest of the time on Star Wars films and TV trying to fix the problems of the other films.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
yeah,
think most people are hoping for animation announcements at Japan. It feels well overdue, and probably that's where I think most of the announcements will happen, I think.
I think what they could do, and this is just me just sort of like spitballing an idea, but bearing in mind you've got the 50th anniversary of A New Hope coming up, why not return to our favorite characters set either between Empire and Jedi or A New Hope and Empire and in animated form, announce that and get
And kill
something.
them off before the sequel trilogy.
You know what, mate?
And then kill them off before they get to the sequel trilogy.
And that all just becomes a bad dream. Yay.
That's the best suggestion, I think. Take out George Lucas to hype up his museum. 100%.
Yeah, yeah,
I would be 100% behind that.
yeah,
Yeah, I would like to see Lucasfilm show his museum a great deal of support. I don't know if we're going to see that or not. It might be tricky for Disney to be seen to help support it because George is going to be honest,
yeah.
I think, in his museum, and that's going to be the good, the bad, and the ugly. Um, they might not appreciate that at Disney, I think. And it's not going to be a complete Star Wars focus, but yeah, I think more people need to know about his museum, and yeah, I like that idea.
I think there is still a lot of expectation that it's going to be heavily Star Wars led, but from what we've heard, it's more likely to be about his actual collection of
Yeah,
stuff rather
it's going
than.
to be more about the whole story of the moving picture than it is
Yeah.
going to be focused on Star Wars. And obviously, he's got access to a lot of Star Wars assets,
Mm,
so it's going to have a Star Wars element. But I think there'll be a lot of work going on to make it not a Star Wars museum.
yeah, yeah.
On that note, let's call an end to this week's Jabba Court and head on back to Good Morning Tatooine, I think. And oh, here we go, get rid of that. Jabba's Court is part of Good Morning Tatooine, your weekly recap of all the latest Star Wars news, live streaming every Sunday at 9 p.m. in UK at 4 p.m. in New York. And it's also released as a video on Fantatrax TV every Wednesday at 7 p.m.